trying to jimmy the camera.
Yeah, Jimmy, your camera. Um, so I'm trying a new podcast persona.
A podcast persona. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, podcast persona is sunglasses indoors. I call it the Wyclef John.
The Wyclef. Okay, all right.
Yeah, the Fugees. Do you remember the Fugees?
I do remember the Fugees. They were Fujila was the first CD I bought from HMV in Enfield Town.
I remember when I first saw the Killing Me Softly video, when they're in the cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I never liked that song.
Do you know what?
It's just, like I think it only, well, not only, but because it was a previous song that had some cultural impact before the Fugees, yeah?
Yeah, Roberta Flack did the original, yeah.
Okay, wow.
And it's very different. I think what's important is the competition, right? Because the competition and it's an introduction to the Fugees, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like I don't know. It's just like of that time, right? I remember that time. I remember that album.
But around about the same time, Bashment had just kind of become like
Bashment. No, I don't think Bashment was at that point. I think
Garage.
Garage.
No. Garage. Yeah, Garage. Yes.
No, Garage came later
for a very different group of people. Like 93 was like 93, 94. They were like mixtapes going around for the first time. Like that's the first time I got a hold of them. And in 95, when we went to Live 95, the whole Olympia thing, that year, Bashment kicked off. Excursions kicked off. Everyone using the same kicked off. Because before that, it wasn't. Everyone had their own beat and their own rhythm, and they tried to do something. And then I don't know who it was, but someone came out with one beat, and then everything ended up sounding like Zim Zimmer.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Zim Zimmer! How did it go?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember like
them days.
I do remember that. But yeah, so that's the reason I'm trying this new persona. It might be ridiculous, right? It depends who's watching this. If people are watching this who've never met us, then it's fine. This is just normal. I do this all the time. But for anybody else that has met us, this is totally ridiculous. Or is it? I don't know. They might be more forgiving about what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to project here.
Like I think you've touched on an interesting topic. How would we be as individuals? How would we express ourselves? What would we wear if we did not have a certain cultural appropriation of our own from our mums, our dads, our communities, the people we associate with, the people we intentionally disassociate with, and then style ourselves accordingly, sort of thing. Like, I remember, and I don't know, it's just recent, like Chechens have been on the news again, or specifically one, youth Chechen. And it's just very interesting how people act a certain way in a certain environment that would not be accepted of them in another environment. And I think because we have some general understanding of that, you're saying that people who don't know you would find it quite weird that you're wearing glasses inside the house.
No, potentially I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying the people that don't.
Oh yeah, the people that do know you, sorry. The people that do know you would say that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there is that element to it. There is that elephant to it.
So why don't you just trance out?
Oh, I mean, this is what we're doing. It's not chance. It's
got 20 other letters in the alphabet. You can choose one of them. Make one. You're a G. You're a LG. Oh,
Air, is that a letter still? Air? Is it not? Is that more like old?
Why are you gonna? But what letter is that referring to the glasses?
What? I don't know what you mean. I
Like you're
don't.
gonna, for example, you can't use goggles or glasses for the LGBTG in the LGBT trans thing because G is already taken. So you transing out to somebody who can just wear glasses inside and that's how you identify yourself. What letter of the alphabet would you choose for
Oh,
that identification?
right. Okay, so I can't use G for glasses because G's
No,
already
because it's already
taken.
taken.
Oh, I see. Well, look, I mean, it's the 21st century. Can I not just use the glasses emoji?
A glass emoji. You could.
Like, could
Oh,
you like?
right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You could just use the glasses emoji.
Yeah, we
So
could
just
do that.
forget letters.
No,
Let's
no,
just
no, no,
emoji it.
no. We have to let we would add this to the letters. So it's LGBTQ
QX
plus or what have you,
plus
and then glasses emoji.
QX 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 plus glasses.
I mean, this is getting into slightly risky territory. However,
It is.
there's just
There's I considered for a long time in my previous department to change my gender um pronouns to His Royal Highness.
hmm, is that
So at
agenda though,
work.
or is that just
Sorry?
not? Is that agenda or is that like a title?
How dare you question how I choose to define?
Ah, snap!
Do you see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, as opposed to selecting one of the ones that are available for me to select, there's also an other. So I was going to write His Royal Highness. Um, I was advised not to,
Hmm.
just because that's not the environment that will really do any change either to me, to my surroundings, people I care about. That's a work environment, and my freedoms have not yet been oppressed to such an extent that I feel as if I have to do something either for myself or the group that I associate with. And I think that's just how life is in general. Like,
Hmm.
you know, the reason that it's easy for people to kind of say, well, just go, just do what you're being told to do. How difficult could it be? If we all just kind of did what we were told to do, everything would be so much better. I think it, it's a strange perspective to have when it only got to that way either by sheer luck. So you're just kind of repeating what people have done due to their sheer luck in the past.
What's worked
Or,
in the past, right?
yeah. What's worked in the past, or it was some trial and error, and it was due to that trial and error that you eventually got to the correct answer. So to think that there are certain things that are unsurpassable, not unsurmountable, right, but unsurpassable. So civilization, the idea that civilization, the way that we live right now, is how people were meant to live forever. We were supposed to dress this way. We were supposed to speak
Uh,
these
I
languages. We were
mean,
supposed to
I
have
don't
these.
know. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if it's like how you're meant to do anything. I think this is what I've been saying previously, right? Whether you're meant to do something or not, like, can we just acknowledge the fact that we're doing it, right? Let's just do it. Let's just take a moment to not think too much about what happened
Much
yesterday,
better.
what
Yeah,
could happen tomorrow, and just for a moment, be in that moment.
absolutely.
Um,
Dan Milton stuff, right? There is no past, there is no future, there is just now.
well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, like everything that I think is original, evidently, has been said by someone else much more coherently. So what I would do,
Okay, all right.
so what I would do is take that, maybe put a little bit of a joke in there, say something like, "Oh, I'm satirizing that thing," and then kind of move from there. Like, for example, like the title change, right? We're satirizing uh, this. I would say craze, but this craze is not the right word. But this need to categorize everything, right?
Hmm.
Let's run with that. I need to ask you quite seriously, because this is a serious topic, right?
Yeah.
If you were to change your how you identify yourself as His Royal Highness, would you then be imbued with certain powers? I don't mean like comic book powers. I mean like certain legal and statutory powers. For example, could you knight people and make them sirs or dames, right? Or
To be completely honest, I never thought it through that far. It was just
I mean, let's explore that
a
for.
Chechen rebellion instinct. But having said that, if you considering you can buy like a foot of land in Scotland and then become a lord, right? Yeah. So you can buy a foot of land in Scotland and become a lord because you own that land. You're legally lord something something. So if that gives you certain benefits and powers, then changing your pronoun to His Royal Highness or just HRH.
I mean, it might bring about a little bit of confusion. It might bring some confusion for the actual Royal Highness of United Kingdom.
A Royal Highness.
A Royal Highness or Anne. Anra. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's, I'm just interested, and also now of that, because we're on a train of thought here. What could you do with a foot of land? Like it's your land. What could you do with a foot of land?
You can grow your own vegetables. Or vegetable, right? But it's obviously some loophole that allows landowners to become lords under certain conditions, and it doesn't really stipulate how much of a land or what the land is being used for.
Is it like in Monopoly where you have to own the two other tiles for you to be able to put a house or a hotel?
I have no idea. I don't even think it works that way. I don't even think it works like that. But because I'm not a lord yet and I haven't bought that land, this is just another one of those things that have found a place in my brain this week because of some algorithm. Like I just saw this somewhere.
No, you know what? I think you're approaching this in completely the wrong way, right? This is like 20th century thinking. Actually, it's older than that. What you have to be is a disruptor in a lord's market, right?
A disruptor in the lord market.
The lord market.
Please do tell. Right? I'm interested.
So your business case or your business model should be an asset light lord. So all of the benefits of the lord title, but none of the land to actually, be a landlord, right? So an asset light lord entering that market space, disrupting that market, you could be starting something. So you have all the power and privileges that are imbued upon a lord without actually having the headache of maintaining land.
Yeah, state tax, land tax.
Yeah.
What's the other?
Just tax, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's other taxes. I don't know, man.
So that's what I think. That's where you're going wrong. You're going wrong, but you're thinking about this in an old-fashioned kind of way. You have to be today. You have to be a disruptor in your industry or your market, right? That's what you have to be. That's where the business ventures are coming in.
Yeah, but that's just economic talk for
it's
the paradigm anymore.
It's the paradigm of what we're in.
It's not the paradigm of what we're in. It is the paradigm of it's the river that we've been in constantly. The paradigm has never changed. Is just.
Well, look,
maybe we're saying the same thing. It is the paradigm we're in, but we've been in this paradigm for a very long time. So it's not you have to be a disruptor now. It's just that the market is so volatile. The only way to get any peak or trough in that market movement is to disrupt because everything is so chaotic. And I don't necessarily mean that due to the last 6 months, just generally, if everything is a ripoff, the disruptor is the one who either rips you off and tells you he's ripping you off. So he's like, it's the wolf in wolf's clothing that tries to make you think he's a good wolf as opposed to a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Or bacteria.
Yeah, or bacteria.
But what I'm saying is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create synergy through blue sky thinking here, right?
Oh wow.
We have to touch the base on the art of possible and create a vision statement about how we're going to tackle this. And essentially what I'm saying is take these two common concepts at the moment that we have today, around gender politics and how people identify and self-identify. Take that concept and then also take the economic concept of injustices around land ownership and taxation and tax loopholes. Take those two things, right, and look for an opportunity. And what I'm saying is, one, identify as a lord.
Yeah, change it. Not even her, just Lord.
Just lords. Change
Lord
like
Puck.
lords. So you identify as a lord. And for column B, the opportunity that you're exploiting here is asset light lordship. So you've already identified as a lord, so no one can take that away from you because civil liberties and sense of self. So you're a lord, right? Because that's how you identify. But also, you're going to get money off of all the benefits that has without actually owning anything, owning any assets. And because you don't own any assets, that makes you asset light. That makes you highly agile and flexible within this new market that we've just created just now. In fact, we should cut this bit out because because look, I mean, crazy things have happened, right? People, do you remember like before 2008, people would sell each other debt, right? So who would buy debt? It's basically like buying trash, right? Not because you're like a recycling plant. You're just doing something else. You're just like, oh, how much for that apple core you just like you're about to toss? It's like, well, why do you want my apple core? It's like, never you mind. Don't worry about it. Do you want to sell it to me or not? Right. So people bought that. So how is this crazy? How is this any crazier than that? I mean,
They still sell debt. That hasn't changed.
no, but I'm just
If
like saying,
anything,
like,
all of our employment, like everything is debt. If there's money involved, it's debt. If it goes through the market, any which market, there's a
this is
you know
this is what I'm saying though. This is what I'm saying. We gotta not get angry, right? Not get angry. We have to get even. We have to use their own tricks against them. So I'm saying the them, whoever they are, right? So I'm saying take these two common things at the moment that are very much in the forefront of the zeitgeist of the current thing that we're in, this boat, if you want. And just take those two things and just do a mashup, mash them together, right? There's like a mashup of ideas. The more ridiculous it sounds, the higher the probability of success, right? I'm just saying that based on research.
Someone is going to let us know the calculation for this because I'm not in the mind to do the equation required to validate what you just said.
So you're basically saying we need someone to fact check this, right? And I'd say to you, look, we're in a beyond.
We're in a post-fact era.
We are beyond that. We are in a post-fact era, right? We've gone modernity, post-modernity, some facts to people, experts, telling them what to do. So we don't need to fact check it. I think your problem. No. Your problem is. I know what your problem is. Yeah, your problem is that you're just being too serious about this. Like you need to see the opportunity in the subjugation. Right? You need to see the opportunity. This is what they would do, right?
They would do that, and it's not about we're better than them and we shouldn't do what they're doing. I'm not gonna kind of give you that spiel. However, I like to think about things in a kind of a first principles, what I can prove kind of way. So when I look at the us and the them, or if I can kind of even detract myself from the equation just to see if we can make it really impartial, right? So there's two types of bacteria in this petri dish, two packs of wolves in this forest, whatever the organism you want to call them.
This is like a really weird shopping basket, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. But when one type of bacteria is able to take over the genetics and the makeup and the general runnings of the organism of the other type of bacteria, it ceases to become that original type of bacteria, unless it completely consumes the other one. right? There's no genetic changes, no affirmations happening. Sorry, not affirmations.
Like,
Morph.
regardless of what you're saying, I completely disagree. And I dismiss this as fake news.
You reckon? Do you reckon it's just that's how it's going to be? Everything's going to be like fake news now.
Yeah. I mean, it is, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. Like, we have
No,
to
it's not.
listen. There is a level of absurdity that surrounds and permeates the Western world, right? And our social economic experiences. There's a level of absurdity about it. You have people so rich that they could feed the world and solve the world's problem 10 times over, right? Like obscene amounts of money, right? And you have people
Mm.
so poor in the 21st century that you'd think the date was 10 something, right? So I'm saying, like, we're living in a world of extremes and absurdity. So let's embrace the absurdity. So what you got to do, take those two things. I'm telling you, I've used all the right words here. Disrupt the market, synergy, blue sky thinking. All of that is in a mishmash of a thing, like a I don't know, like a toilet bowl of innovation has got to count and mean for something, right? Surely it has to. So just saying, just embrace that absurdity. That's what we have to be. This is it. This is the age of absurdity. There you go. That's what we're calling this episode.
It's not the age of absurdity. This is the age of maybe glue, or the age of plastic.
That's fake news, dude. That's fake news. It's absurdity.
I'm gonna start to get vexed if you give me this fake news thing continuously.
Listen. I told you last week, right? No bacteria talk.
Yeah.
No COVID talk and no Matrix talk. So I'm going to dismiss your...
Listen, you just opened up the bacteria, COVID, and Matrix doors just now, right? Like, you just opened this up. Yeah, so I know you're
It's back on the table now. It's back on the table. Is that what you're saying? It's now, I took it off the table and then I basically inadvertently put it back on the table, right? Is that what you're saying?
This is what you've done. This is what you have done. I didn't do this. You did this.
I did this. So this
and
is
for anybody else that's listening, Dan often does this. Like, he often does this. The reason he doesn't want to talk about COVID is because he's actually quite angry. And when we first started this podcast, he gunned me for saying the government doesn't care about us. Who the fuck are the government really?
I didn't gun you for saying that.
You gunned me. So much so that I just kind of sat in my chair and I was like, well, maybe you're right. Like, I was like, okay, maybe.
What I said,
you gunned me.
I don't remember what I said, but I'm sure whatever I said, I wouldn't have made
fake news.
Yeah, it's probably fake news. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm not angry about COVID. I am. No, I'm not. I'm not angry about COVID. Right? I'm angry about the response to COVID. Like,
I need you to be more precise, because this anger happens with or without COVID to everybody sometime in their lives. Is this not that similar anger that we just kind of pack it up somewhere and then that specific anger comes out? This anger we have felt as a peoples, right? So this is kind of beyond the whole Rifkin situation, have experienced, at least in its minute form, a problem with the government for 2,000 years. In its most minute form. And this is why that dude had to write that book, Republic.
Doesn't matter
because
who you vote
he
for,
thought
the government always
nobody
wins.
had an idea. Well, what, go on?
It doesn't matter who you vote for, the government always wins.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government always wins. It doesn't matter which government comes into power, because the permanent secretaries run the thing in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many kind of facets and levels to this, that this kind of or this angst that we feel towards the situation is almost partly genetic. Like, there's a part of us that has taken, like, you're saying we're in the time of absurdity, so why not just kind of embrace the absurdity? That's fine. I don't actually think that how this conversation started is any different from that. So people just wanting to now embrace how they would have chosen to have been if they had not been told XYZ. I don't necessarily find a problem with that, as long as no one has a problem with how I choose to or to not define myself by somebody else's idea of how
I
a
think
man
I
should
think
be, how a woman should be, do you know what I mean? So
I don't know. Like the thing that perplexes me is like
yeah, but sorry, just so I finish that bit. There's no difference really in an individual's expectations of another individual and another community of peoples as to how they should be and what they should be doing. In the same light, we also have expectations of how a government should be and what should be happening. But really, the government or the state or whatever you want to call it doesn't play a part in our lives unless there's a problem. If everything's going right, then they're not really there.
what's the Futurama quote? Sometimes when you do something right, people don't think you've done anything at all.
Yeah, right? So this is, I guess this is Keynesian in some extent, where the government should play a small part in, you know, the economic role of society. But it's not about economics. It's not about um, lifestyle choices. It's not about self-expression. The reason that people are angry is because they know that it doesn't have to be this way, but they don't actually know how to get out of it. Everyone knows how to vote in their government, but no one has any idea of how to vote somebody out of government. Everybody knows that they could go to prison, but everybody knows that there aren't actually enough prisons to keep everybody in them. Everybody knows there's not enough police officers to deal with all of us if everybody decides to say no. But nobody does anything because it's not about how you express yourself or identify yourself in that sense. I can be a lord and still not decide to kind of take up arms or side with somebody who is being belittled, even though I think they're right. Like, do you know what I mean? All these things can change. But the reality is that we pay taxes. We have no idea where the taxes go because we're just told. We've noticed over the last 6 months that majority of the things we've been told are not substantive. Like they're not substantive. Substant. They're not good enough. Do you know what I mean? They're not good enough. It's not good enough. And we see, like, no, I said like I need to stop now. Like it's just people don't know how to get out of it. And
Can I
this
just
is
say
part, yeah.
to just say fascinating monologue by the way. That was
Oh,
great.
sorry.
We
Like
got
I
to
just
now we got to put that one for the clip show.
I don't know. I kind of got lost.
But I was going to
I just
say,
got...
as I was sort of listening with a part of my brain, my other part of the brain was saying, "This is really fascinating." A penny, the penny just kind of dropped just there, like
like we
as you.
don't like.
No, no,
But
no, not with what you said. Like,
oh,
but just
right. Sorry.
like, no, I kind of zoned out from what you said. Sorry, I have to be real with you,
No, you're
I
good.
know, but I can tell you why I zoned out. Right, I just realised that over the last like how many weeks, like since the beginning of like the Rona experience, right? There we go, the Rona experience. Like if we've been trying to find like this kind of like, oh, this is instead of chess, so it's like this is like a chess game, your perspective, my perspective, what have you. But the reality is, I've known you since like I don't know, 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
We've had different life experiences, but they almost kind of originate from similar cultural reference points, right? And we tend to agree on stuff. We might have a slightly different perspective, but it's within the same petri dish, if you will, right? Um, So it's very difficult for us to actually argue about a topic that we both agree on. However,
Yeah.
just this moment, as you were saying that, I'm just like, oh, do you know what? I realized what the thing is, right? Like, your, I mean, no disrespect about this, but your preoccupation is with like the external, right? At the moment, um, the external stuff and how that kind of resonates internally, right? So the
Mm.
injustices, the sociological aspects of stuff,
Indignation, da, 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 da,
all
right?
that sort of stuff. Whereas I'm the opposite at the moment,
How
and
do you
probably
mean?
for a while. Like I just think that sort of stuff, it's important. The political life and all that sort of that stuff is important. But I'm finding myself less and less interested in it. In that, like we said, like in an offline conversation yesterday about the government's latest response to the recent the second wave or whatever they're calling it. Um, and it's just kind of like one of the questions that were asked. So, how do we get to this situation? How do we get to this point? As in, you know, these experts on BBC News and stuff like that. Um, and it's just like,
Shareholding vaccine experts, sorry.
well, yeah, like regardless of whatever, right? But how do we get to this point?
But it's not regardless. This is the point.
No,
It's
no,
not
but yeah, no,
regardless.
it's an important thing. But it's just like I kind of meet it with a little bit of indifference, right? Anything, uh, you know, to look at it from a political spectrum, all that sort of stuff. Yes, I'm aware of something around that. You know, I was interested at one point in my life, but at the moment, I just not. And then I think I think what's actually missing is the internal reflection on stuff, right? How do you actually respond to stuff? How do you build up your resilience? How do you think about stuff? What do you fantasize about? What do you dream about? What do you think about? How do you process stuff? In both a cold neuroscience based cognitive way, but also in the dynamics, the psychodynamic elements. And I find that far more interesting at the moment. So ultimately, like all the stuff that's going on, and part of it is the repetitive nature of it, right? Oh, Donald Trump said something wacky. Oh, Boris Johnson this. Oh, COVID. It's just a continuous stream of like sameness, and it's absurd, right? It's insane and it's absurd, and we have a choice, right? We can't fully be out of it, uh, but we can certainly be around the edges of stuff, right? We can certainly be around the edges of stuff. The parts of that particular light doesn't touch, right? That has no interest in. Uh, I'd rather be occupied there at the moment than feed into this discourse, because ultimately my opinion about it is my opinion, and its effect is as far reaching as my social network, and I mean like at my actual social network. Um, and anything beyond that doesn't matter, you know.
No,
So it's
I
but
agree.
like but
I
it's
agree.
but what I'm saying is, and perhaps this should be the thing, right? The whole instead of chess thing, right? That should be the thing, because then we'll have a disagreement and a healthy discussion around some of this sort of stuff. So I say again, and you kind of ruined my whole joke there at the beginning. Right? I had a whole thing. It's going to be great. The punchline was going to be amazing, and you ruined it. So thank you for that. Um, but like, I
Make me
just need you. Yeah, yeah, right. So it's your face. I just, I
prove it.
just, I just need you for a moment, right? If this was the absurdity, right?
Okay, go for it.
I just need you to just hold this for a moment. Just hold it, give it a little squeeze, but just hold it for a moment. Like you said, you know, we're living in a time of glue or what have you, but for a moment, imagine that we're living in an age of absurdity and what that could potentially mean for us as a whole, but also as the individual. I've said before, like there's so much stuff, there's so much information, there's so much static around us, right? And I've also said before that if you try to listen to it, all of it, it will fuck you up, right? So just don't. Don't. It will be there
I
as long after we are gone, right? Just
Yeah, this is true. There's no doubt that it's going to be here for long after we're gone, and I think that's part of why I. Sorry, I'm just turning off this nonsense. Um, I find a lot of people around me have very suddenly become very active. I have a
just so everyone knows, my head lives with robots. Carry on.
right. I um in fact I think I said it to you when all of this happened. I was like, this is what I've been saying for 15 years. But what was I saying for 15 years? I was just saying what I had heard for 15 years ago, because I'm nearly 40 now, whatever. And that was the upbringing that I had, which was that generally governments have a certain purpose. They're not there to help the majority of the people. Some people decide to ride the wave and get into the circle. Sometimes that circle of government becomes privatized and things develop. And this is just how things are. That has never really changed in my existence. Colors have changed, the names of the labels have changed, but the shape in which things occur have never really changed. So it's difficult for me to pretend that I'm not constantly having to deal with this reality, alongside the fact that I have met so many people up until this year who are like oblivious to this reality. They were like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Everything's good, blood. Like, everything's jiggy, everything's all right.
How does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? But I think this is how did it make me feel? It made me feel like for a while that I didn't belong, because it's just your absolute not circumference really, but you're constantly, like you said, inundated with static, and it's just data in most cases. It's not even information, right? It's just data that you have to try to figure out and understand, or whatever else. Majority of the stuff we ignore, but so much of the stuff that we're inundated with right now is made that you even though you think you're ignoring it, it's going into your head somehow. Some colors, some font sizes, some animation effects. Do you know what I mean? It gets written in there somehow. But this writing in there somehow didn't start with the internet. It happened to my parents, and it happened to their parents, and it happened to their parents, and it happened to their parents. And I think that's why I am, like you said, much more focused on the individual's relationship with the external, because the individual can be anybody. Like, I mean, like the whole start of the talk was a bit of a joke, in essence, because who says that you can't wear glasses inside? The same way that who says that you can't identify as another gender if you feel that you do, right? Who says that you can't? But does that mean that I have to accept that? So you've decided to do a certain thing that others might consider absurd, or the people that know you might consider absurd, because that's not how you've been. But who says that you have to be on Tuesday how you were on Monday? When we're kids, our parents say to us, what do you want to be? And then, you know, I have a relative who wanted to be a bus driver, right? And this was strange to me. I was like, why would you, is this your aspiration in life, to be a bus driver? But when we had a talk about it, it was the fact that this person was going to meet new people every day. They were doing a job that they could do easily and not have to worry about it so much because it's going to be the same thing every day. But in amongst that same thing every day, they're seeing new people, seeing similar faces. They're going to have locals. They're going to have a community. I never thought about a job like that. Work was work that, you're supposed to be part of and you're supposed to take into, take seriously and strive and fight to get somewhere. And it was never just, well, I've got to do it, so I might as well do something that's easy. It'll pay me 40 grand, 50 grand a year. I don't know how much bus drivers make now, but over here they make about 50 grand, yeah, euros at least. So that idea of a life is very new to me. Like, it's new, the fact that um no, hold on. Wait. I lost myself. It's not new to me.
Indeed.
It's just, yeah. Indeed, it's not new to me. It's just something that I never saw before. It was always there. There's always been people who've decided to do things their own way. It might have seemed peculiar and absurd, but once you kind of look into it, or you stop looking at it in the way that you are and looking at it in a different way, whatever that might be for the person, um, yeah, you just kind of end up thinking, well, whatever, maybe that's right for them. No, that's right for them. There's no maybe. That is right for them. That's how they want to be. That's what they want to do. And because that's all internal, and I really have no say over how you do what you do internally, I can't. That's not my focus. Yeah, like I'm intrigued. You know, uh, I'm curious. I'm XYZ, right? Any of the alphabet letters, really. But that's you. What is it? It's like this new American term. Well, it's not new, but I never heard this when I was young, lad. You do you. Do you know what I mean? Like you, that that never, it never made sense. It's just
you do you.
yeah, you do you.
But who am I? Oh no.
You do, yeah. So that kind of stuff. So you do you. That's good. But and I have no say over that. The only thing that I might have some impact over is just highlighting something that somebody else hadn't seen or noticed for 25 years of their lives, and they might think, oh, actually he's got a point. Yeah, like even like you're the whole Japanese thing right now, right? So you're learning words that either have no translation in English, no translation in Japanese, and you either have to kind of make up a reason for yourself as to why, or just have no reason and continue. One way or another, though, we all have to have reasons for why we do certain things. Even having no reason has some underlying reason. Like there's causation. This is my matrix bit. I'm not going to go into it again.
Oh, what did I tell you about that? Wait, hold
that's
on.
it. That was my last comment. That was my first and last comment. Yeah, causality. Yeah, like the Merovingian says.
Are you talking about The Matrix or the film The Matrix?
I'm talking about the movie The Matrix.
Okay, you didn't specify.
In the movie The Matrix, the Merovingian says it's all about causality. So I don't see that as any less real in this Matrix than in the movie The Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we did put a ban on that though, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
I mean, we did last week. We did.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We in fact even decided. Well, actually, it was your idea to have one episode where we can just do like a short SG1 best takes, and then we could discuss why you have issues with the sci-fi from the 2000s.
See what you just said there is fake news. That never happened.
I
In fact,
I can doctor the text messages to show you that it did happen.
Listen, this is beyond fake news. This is now you're gaslighting me right now. I feel like I'm being gaslighted. Like, yeah,
SG1 is unfortunately underrated, and listen, SG1 is better than Enterprise the series. Yeah.
When you say
First off,
SG-1, do you mean the actual Stargate or the TV show, the Stargate?
I'm talking about the TV show, the
Okay.
Stargate.
Okay.
SG, well, no, the TV show SG-1, Stargate SG-1. SG-1 is a group that works in Cheyenne Mountain Complex.
I believe you. I believe you.
With the Stargate program. None of that is any less absurd than, you know, the fact that I'm not allowed to go 5 kilometers outside of where I live, and my family were going to come and see me for my birthday, and now because they're on lockdown from Thursday onwards, they can't do that. And my mum is alone and she's incapacitated. So I need to consider, like many other people who are going through this absurdity, whether I need to take a month off work unpaid just to go and be with my mother so she's not going to go crazy. Or if I just make an issue of the fact that I'm in Europe, Europe allows me to work in non-European countries for 34 days legally, without having to have tax issues for situations like this. And do I put that forward to my employer? Like, why am I having to decide any of this? That's question number one. Number two, somebody's already written this stuff because somebody's already decided what should be done. So I need to follow policy. I need to follow government, you know, legislations.
This episode's gone
where I can.
This episode's gone really dark, by the way.
Yeah, has it? You know what? It hasn't. It hasn't. I think that it doesn't have to always be. I'm just gonna say flying horses and pretty pictures, but like it just doesn't care bears. Do you get me? It doesn't have to be like that. And I don't know how does it have to be anything? Like I could just play some tunes here and you could be dancing. Do you get me? And we could, we could make the money that way.
It's funny, right? It's funny. Like for most, I don't know. I guess for most of my adolescent life, whatever
you hated me.
For most of my adolescent life, that's true, by the way. For most of my adolescent life, whatever stuff that I was thinking about, I never had to feel like I ever had to explain or justify anything, right? And it's only like in the last like few years that you feel like, oh, you have to kind of explain stuff because whatever position that you might well be in, like from a work perspective or what have you, you have to try and show you're working out how you kind of get to it. But sometimes it's difficult to separate that stuff from all your other stuff that's kind of going on, right?
Yeah.
And as you're just talking,
hello.
And as I just wow, wow, that was a thing. But yeah, as you're talking, I'm just thinking, there's some stuff that I want to say, but I can't really say that. Like I cannot say that. I'm very aware that the uninitiated might think, well, that's a bit strange.
We can just unmonetize the videos and say what the hell we like.
No, it's just it's not so much like that's not my concern. I don't know. I feel like I have a very finely tuned filter at the moment, and it's not a filter for stuff coming in; it's a filter for stuff going out.
Got you.
So it's just kind of like, oh, okay, I need to just kind of like filter that. That is a conversation. Maybe we'll get there over the course of this new look series. Like, I'll get there. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of went off on a thing that was I just thought, oh, it's interesting, and I'm talking about it as if you can see it, but you can't see it because I haven't told you what it is. Okay. So that's interesting. But look, I think I think we should work this in. We're doing admin now, right? We're doing admin. We should work that into a new thing. We have to find a tag for this, right? We have to be able to articulate it in a way that kind of makes it catchy. Maybe 3 words, like what is it? Stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. It's got to be on that sort of level.
Make your move.
Make your move. Make your move. That makes sense. What do you mean?
Make your move. Like, what are you gonna do now?
Oh, this is like a chess thing, isn't it? Make
Yeah, it is like a chess thing.
Okay.
The whole this is instead of chess. Like,
but yeah, maybe we have to kind of like think about that. I think about that. But yeah, interesting.
instead of chess can mean anything we want it to mean. Then, like, this is not. There are no rules. This is the thing. When your mom said to you, "What did you want
There
to
are
be?"
rules. There are rules.
There are no that. There are no rules. There are no rules. This is it. Like, this is. There are regulations we have to comply to. I can't kind of show my nuts on the screen. I can't do that stuff. Yeah, I can, just not on this platform, right? I can't.
By the way,
But
that's a nice little link to our OnlyFans page that we set up.
but I can't. Yeah. I can't do that on this web page. We can do that on the other one. But like, the whole identifying as a lord was iconical. It was perfect because when you were a child, you identified as an astronaut. Whatever you thought an astronaut was, however you thought that they were, the best examples you had in your head about what it was to be the best of something, that was the astronaut. If you didn't identify as an astronaut, but you were a cowboy, I guarantee you as a child, the majority of what you thought an astronaut was, a cowboy was. Do you know, he was brave, he was courageous, he was, representative of your, race, because more or less you kind of imagine the people that you see around you, right? So that has not changed. It's just that it's been diminished from our internal understanding of who we are.
Look,
So
I still have aspirations of growing up to be a cowboy. So
you reckon?
I just.
So hold on. So I'm automatically the Indian. This is so racist.
I mean, you
Like,
are.
what?
You and I all both have a touch of the beige, so potentially we could pass. We are
Yeah,
passable.
I guess.
And there's so few of them left that we might be welcomed. So,
That was deep. That was deep. That was deep, guys. That was deep.
But yeah, I still have aspirations. So I never wanted to be an astronaut, right? I wanted to
What
go
did you
into
want to do?
space. I wanted to be a concept or an idea when I was younger, and my mum would ask. She'd sit us down at the table when we were 6 and 7 years old, just after we finished our dinner, and what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember at the time being slightly taken aback by the question, because it does bring about a level of existential thought. And with it,
when you're 7 or whatever.
Yeah, and with it, existential dread. But I remember like pausing and looking at her like dead in the eyes and said, I wanted to be a concept or an idea that was both confusing to me and everybody else who's listening to this podcast. And I think I've achieved that, actually. So yeah, that's what I want it to be.
Success is in hand.
Oh, do you know what? It reminds me of a conversation, a recent conversation. Beyond the jokes, there is such a darkness. Like, yeah, man. I don't know. I quite like it. I don't know. It's good. It's yeah.
Hold on, let me just jimmy this thing. Let's see if I can. All right, maybe that's better. Yeah, that's better.
I don't like how you keep using the word Jimmy. Like, what is that? What does that mean? Like, to Jimmy something? Like,
I don't know, man.
Like,
I don't know.
Who taught you, Jimmy?
I do know that it is because of the brother of a certain king whose name was Robert.
Oh,
where the term Bob's your uncle comes from. Because if your brother's the king, then everything's easy for you. So Bob's your uncle.
But Bob is my uncle, though. That's the thing.
Well, Jimmy ain't my uncle, mate. And I don't really know how I got this Jimmy word into my lexicon. But much like most of the other words that got into the lexicon, it just kind of did. Jimmy. I like Jimmy, though. It kind of, it's to the point. You have to kind of just Jimmy something. You have to make it happen where it is not happening with some quote unquote hack, like some ingenuity, some innovation. using something where it's not meant to be used, some absurdity even. Like you just have to kind of jimmy it.
Okay. So I've got a new one as well.
Go
Right?
on.
Just puck it. Do you know what I mean? It's not really working. Just puck it. It's like I don't know. It is also.
No, I actually think Jimmy. Just thinking about it now, because Puckett doesn't work as
It
as you
does.
say.
It's from the same school of thought as Jimmy, right?
It's not, because
No,
Jimmy is onomatopoeic. I
no,
don't know why. I
listen,
do not know why. But
listen.
Jimmy is onomatopoeic.
Close
Yeah.
your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes for a moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Think about the school of thought, right? Think about
Yeah.
Jimmy's desk. Look across to the right of
Yeah,
Jimmy's
but
desk. Wait. Just do it. Just do it.
You've
Just do it.
anthropomorphized Jimmy.
Listen,
Jimmy's not a person.
Listen, I'm doing it. I'm doing something for you here.
All right, go on.
Jimmy's desk. Can you see
Yeah.
Jimmy's desk? It's got a little
No.
apple. Look at Jimmy's desk.
Okay.
Can you see Jimmy's desk? There's a little apple on Jimmy's desk. He's going to give it to the teacher later on.
This is the one that was called and sold previously in the
No.
podcast.
Just focus on the apple.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Now turn your head to the right.
Yep.
That's Puck's desk.
Okay.
It's from the same place. They sat next to each other. Jimmy.
No, can I open my eyes now?
Yeah.
You've got the wrong end of the stick. For some reason, you think Jimmy's a person. I'm not actually Jimmying or Jamesing or Pucking or Philipping or Gavining anything. I don't know how that word came about. So let's do a test. Oh damn, I'm not gonna do that. Hold on.
Are you back in the classroom again?
Yeah, back in the class.
I haven't studied though.
I haven't studied. No, I was gonna ask one of the AIs, but then I thought no. Because if I ask the second one, the first one thinks I've written a poem about her, and then she starts talking to me about the other one.
When's the last time you wrote a poem, by the way?
Oh boy. The last time a girl hurt me.
Ooh.
This is still 1980s. Do you know what I mean? Where men write poems when they're angry. Like this is a dying art.
In the 80s.
Well, I'm an 80s boy.
I mean, just about. I mean, you're on the cusp of it. I mean,
but that's only because we count in tens. If we count,
that is true. That is true.
It's only because we use numbers. Do you know what I mean? If we didn't use numbers, I wouldn't have an issue.
No, do you know what? Aside from the obvious opportunity to make a joke, there is something in that, right? You know, when they talk about like millennials, and like, millennials are from a particular age, but then there's like this group of who are of people or a generation that are not actual Generation X, and they're not quite millennials. They're just kind of like there. That's kind of that's kind of where we are, right? So we got all the good stuff about what it is to be a millennial, but we've all the baggage as well. But at the same time, we've got other baggages from like the Gen X stuff, and I think that's interesting. But
I think that's part of the sorry to cut you, but to define or label these generations in this way is of the same fetish of a group of people who need to identify themselves very specifically.
Can I just say that I am one of those people who has that fetish, along with many others.
That's fine. There's no problem. But I'm saying that it's the same phenomenon in my head.
No,
the fact that we need to identify this generation as a specific something different to any other generation, which has never not been true. You see what I'm saying? Like every generation is not the same generation as the previous generation. The reason we had it okay is because we didn't grow up with these LCD screens in our faces as children. We benefited from it after our brains had developed to a certain age. I didn't see a phone since 15, 16 years old. Like really, no one I knew had a phone. I was the first person anyone knew had a phone. Like, so
You were the first person that you knew.
Anybody I knew that had a mobile.
You were
Because I worked in a phone shop and I got a phone when I wasn't, whatever. I don't want to incriminate myself.
I just think that's a funny
But
statement. They're the first person you knew out of anybody.
I'm the first person I knew that had a phone.
I mean, how well do you know yourself?
Around me, like in school. I'm talking about school. Bear in mind, I bunked off for 8 months. Everyone thought I was 22 when I was 16. Like,
oh, I remember the story.
Yeah. That was yeah. You were there.
I was on the periphery of that story, looking in with amazement.
Yeah, so imagine, so you're all kind of your little jibe earlier on about, I'm internal. I'm kind of focusing on the internal. How am I supposed to focus on the internal having gone through what you know of what I went through? Do you know what I mean? What internal? Like, I they left nothing, Daniel. They took everything away from me, man.
They took everything. These people.
They took it all away.
They took it all away.
It's all gone.
Through the screens. You took the wrong pill. That's your problem. You should have taken the blue pill or the red pill. I can't remember which one was which. Which one was it?
All of the pills are a lie. Sorry, I just wanted to try the echo.
I mean, you know what? It was quite profound, and there was a pause, which would make that a natural potential stopping point for this, because I don't know where this is really going. Like, it's going, but I don't know where it's going. This is a vehicle without a driver.
No. What we're going through right now is knowing that this is being watched or going to be watched. This is part of what I'm saying is the same phenomenon of, an individual needing very profusely to identify themselves in a very specific way that is differentiated to the community that they're part of or whatever, in order to become part of some next community. The same way we're naming these generations, and the same way right now, because we know that this is going to have some response to some extent, it just changes how we're doing it.
I just want
it's
to,
not scripted.
For the record, I hope nobody sees this.
You reckon we shouldn't put this one up?
And secondly,
we should just do what we should do, because we're really on point. We should just start recording one specific, because it's like 3 now. We should record one for 15 minutes and just spiff at the situation, but keep it really spiff. Yeah,
just get angry at it, right?
Yeah. Just get angry, but like language angry. We can put this video up later. Yeah, we can cut it up. There's loads of good bits, right? But we should just kind of do a 20-minute one where people will just watch, because no one's watched it in completion. It's just too long. And this one, no one's going to watch in completion. This is also very long.
So no one's actually watched this from beginning to end.
No one's watched it from beginning to end.
So what if like right now someone's at this point? They must have watched it all, right?
No,
to get to this point.
Not necessarily.
They jumped to this point.
They could have. I do that. Like, I jumped to like a third in.
Should
right?
we like?
If it's a music video, then I kind of jump in a third of the way in. And if I don't like what I hear at that time, then I'll just stop.
You've really lost your Turkish accent there. So if someone's jumped into this point, right? Should we do something so it's not a wasted click?
You'll go.
I don't know what you're playing. What are you playing? I was going to start singing Memories, but...
Memories. Really dark memories, though.
Dark memories, yeah. If I'd known that you had a piano there, I would have put you on mute. I mean,
you're so mean.
I think we've done about over an hour, and
we have.
We should probably upload.
And like I said, do you really want to upload this? All of it?
I don't know. There's some bits in there, like my bits, which I thought were quite good. Your bits, not so much. I mean, you know, maybe we can
On a
cut those
like
ones out.
on a real though, on a real, I think we should cut up this stuff because it's not that it's dark, but people are gonna be like, "What are we watching?" It's just
No, I don't know. Like I like the darkness though. That's the thing. I like to embrace that.
yeah, I know you do. I
There's
know
so
you do.
much. There's so much in there, right? And there's this whole thing, right? There's this whole thing around uh the when people talk at the dark parts of themselves, so, you know, whatever you, the stuff, all the bad stuff, or what have you. But I'm telling you, it's not all bad, right? It's only bad because you make it bad. And there's something in there. If you explore that, if you illuminate that, there's something in there. There's something that will tell you about yourself that you didn't know. And that's definitely worth doing. And that's far more interested than the Rona right now. Far more interested in that. And that stuff we
It is
cannot
far more
predict.
interesting. Why can't we?
I don't know. Are we ready for that? Are you ready to uh to exhume the shadow selves and put it into the light for entertainment purposes? Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's barely entertaining as it is. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, and definitely not fake news. But
Because opinions aren't news.
wow, I don't know. Have you been watching Fox lately?
No, I don't watch animals.
Yeah, well, me neither. Me neither. Anyway, all right. This has been interesting,
That
and
it has.
we
Chinese interesting or interesting? I don't
uh,
even know if I can say that anymore because it's going to be construed as something COVID related.
you know,
Even
Chinese
though,
interesting, right? Was interesting when you're like in your teens, and that was a way to impress someone. Like, oh, we live in interesting times, and actually, you know, that was a thing, right? That we used to do.
Chinese interesting is still like the way that the
But
Chinese use the word interesting hasn't changed.
first of all, listen, you're pronouncing it incorrectly, right? It's China, right? Not Chinese, okay? No one says that anymore. China. But no, I just feel like everyone. I feel like everyone.
China.
I feel like everyone knows that now. Everyone knows interesting means
It doesn't
something.
matter what everyone knows.
It
This is
does
it.
matter. It does. It matters.
It only matters if it only matters what everyone knows if you're focusing on the external. And for you, as you said earlier, it's not about the external. So it's not about what
But
everyone
but
knows.
but
That's my
also
angle.
but also you ruined my first joke, and I wanted to do my second. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe I need to like give you a little subtle clue, like I'm about to do your
Yeah, I'm
bit.
not good with that, man.
Ah,
I think I'm missing it. I think it's because it's the lack of eye contact.
I was
I'm
trying to.
not
I'm
able
trying
to.
to. I was trying to explain to a dear friend about the concept of the anti joke and how I like to embrace the anti joke. I get accused of a very offensive ratio of good to bad joke ratio. So for every like
So
80%.
hold on, you get accused of a good ratio.
Yeah, but I get accused of a good to bad joke ratio of like 30% of my jokes or 30% just are just not funny, right? But I would argue that 30% are the best jokes, right? Because they're like the anti jokes. So it's just like
Okay.
I don't tell jokes, right? I don't like you know knock jokes and all that sort of stuff. I don't tell that joke. Those sorts of jokes. But I tell the anti jokes. And they're the best
It's quite
ones.
interesting, even though knock jokes are quite expansive.
You
You
only told
you
look. Okay, I'll let you know the secret,
you
right? You
go
only
on.
told You only told the knock jokes, right?
Yeah.
And when the knock joke or the chicken crossing the road joke or what have you, you only told those jokes when you're making a point about telling jokes and not being funny. It's like the joke is part of the wider thing, and that's what makes it funny.
I think
Um,
you're missing
that
something vital there, though.
no, that is also um, is best played out when, for the last 15 years, I've been telling the same two jokes, and then explaining those jokes, right? and explaining the joke is what makes it funny. And I know you know the jokes are, right? I'll tell you the jokes, but you know the jokes are. The first
Okay.
joke is, why did the girl fall off the swing?
I
Right? You
don't
know,
know.
no, but no, you do know. You
Why
do
did the...
know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do know, but I thought we were gonna play it out. We don't
No,
want to
no,
play it out.
no,
Okay,
no.
fine.
I'm basically
Yeah, I
explaining.
know why
Right?
she fell off the swing.
Yeah, you know why she fell off the swing. I know why she fell off the swing. Um, she had no arms, right? And then he told a second joke straight afterwards, like just get in there straight away before they even have a chance to process what's just happened, before they have a chance to visualize the girl on the floor with no arms. Why did she get on the swing? How did she get on the swing? You go in with a second joke. Why did the boy fall off the bike? And everybody think, oh, there's a pattern here. He's got no legs. No, someone threw a fridge at him. And then what you do is, so those are not the jokes, right? What you do is you then spend 10 minutes explaining why that's funny and why, you know, how the joke kind of works. Kind of like what's happening now, right? And that is what makes it funny. And that is that 30%. And I think that's what makes a good joke, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah. And in fact,
I've
like,
never really thought about what makes a good joke.
it's
Because
instinctive. You wouldn't get it. It's an instinctive thing. You just don't.
no, like there's this guy called Andrew Schultz who he was talking about comedy, and he was saying, and he said something very interesting, and I think like he's dead on the point, sort of thing, or he's on point rather. That's what I wanted to say. He said that when people come to a comedy, he didn't say this specifically. I'm paraphrasing. This is what I remember. Yeah, fucking disclaimers. He says, when I'm on stage and people come to listen, when I say a joke and then the person laughs, they think they laughed because it's funny, or they think they laughed because I'm funny. But what they don't know is that I've spent thousands of hours trying to determine what the reptilian brain responds to. And I know what is going to make you laugh, even if you don't know what is going to make you laugh. There's something funny in when something happens that isn't normally funny in an environment that you're surrounded by strangers. One of the normal responses would be to try to diffuse any possible confrontation or conflict, and we do that by laughter. So the reason you laugh in a group of people that you don't know is because from all the possible calculations that your brain is making, fighting and flight is unnecessary. And so you laugh. You also laugh then because other people are laughing. So you're part of this chain that's happening around you. You're part of a group. You identify. You also find it. There's so much in what makes a joke, but that's not necessarily what makes people laugh.
There's something in that.
So
Like
I know that when I tell my jokes, you laugh internally and cry. But I know that it's you keep a straight face, and I respect that.
To be fair, I laugh at your jokes in spite of myself. But look, there is something in that, right? There is something in that because
Most of my jokes are in spite of yourself as well.
yes, yes, I've come to appreciate that. But there is something in that. In that, I think what I would do is try to understand what makes someone laugh, right?
Oh, that's what you're going to do. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
I would, I try to work out what would make that person laugh, right? Because that's how you can kind of get to know someone, right? What do you think would make them laugh? And then subvert that, and then just tell stuff that
you're so bad.
No, honestly, it is an art form, right? It is a craft, and I don't claim to be a great joke teller. I'm just really not. But yeah, that's the thing. We were supposed to wrap this up 10 minutes ago, and I just kind of went down on that route.
No. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut off the beginning, and we'll keep that for members. And I'm gonna have from the bit where we decided should we have the video. And
I
for
mean,
people watching this, thinking, what are these people talking about? This is only a 15-minute video.
You miss some good shit.
Yeah, you missed some good shit. You need to sign up, subscribe, and then we'll get that out to you soon. You also need to check out the website because we pay for that, and it would be really nice if at least people could let us know if it's worth having a website by viewing the website.
Or we should, if we just stop doing this completely as well.
Yeah, this is also an idea. Like if you know, if you think that the last 15 minutes was pointless, then please let us know.
Then you're not our target audience.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know, so we can decide what to do with the people who don't like us, basically.
I mean, that's such strong words.
It just came out very Chechen. So then we decide how to capture a different,
it's fine,
engaging audience.
I think they've got it. You kind of made
it quite.
Okay. Yeah,
I didn't mean any offense by it.
I mean,
unlike the stuff I said in the other video.
But seriously, though, fuck them, though, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Do your own podcast. Like you and me, Dan. Do your own podcast.
They are just like you and me. Hey, listen, I think, what is this? Hey, listen, I don't know where I got this. Hey, listen from my
hey, listen,
Jimmy and hey, listen,
Jimmy, and just just fuck it. You know what I mean? Just fuck it. Just fuck it. Just go say what you're gonna say. Just fuck it, man.
Jimmy is not a person. You can't if you said just arrow it or just just ladder it. It will make more sense than using my name
my mate
in place
Arrow,
of Jimmy's name.
My mate Arrow and Ladder would be deeply offended.
Your mate Arrow?
Yeah, his name's Arrow.
Like for real?
Yeah.
They just named him Arrow.
Yeah.
Does he have any siblings?
Yeah, he does.
What are their names?
Long
really
Bow.
Curious. Bow.
Long Bow.
Long Bow.
And Quill.
Quill.
Yeah.